Electro-funk, R&B, and the beginning of dance music. This show digs in where it all started. The roots of hip-hop, breakdance, and electric music. Rhythm radio, the rolling 808, freestyle dance. You're listening to the Old School Rewind with Randy Bubba Black on the Podcaster Online Network.
On today's show, Doc Ice from U.T.F.O.
You say a one for the trouble, two for the time. Come on, y'all, let's
How to do, everybody? Bubba Black here, the Old School Rewind podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. Podcast produced every week, and I'm doing it specifically for my enjoyment. Feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. That is most important here at oldschoolrewind.com. You can also follow me on Facebook at Old School Rewind. All the links are in the show notes. Let's get into the show.
Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne.
And here's our game plan.
The beat is here,
So we will reveal it. And if you think it's soft, then Roxanne, feel it.
Well, all right. Let's liven this thing up a little bit. You know, these podcasts, I have to be a little bit less intense and theatrical. I was a pretty outrageous guy on the radio, so now I just got to let everything breathe out and let it marinate a little bit.
little take back.
Doc Ice, one of the founding members of the U.T.F.O, the Untouchable Force Organization, actually part of Houdini, too. Welcome to the Old School Rewind. Yeah. So back then in the day, did you think you'd be talking to old grown-ups that were 16-year-old white kids from the coast that were into your tunes or what?
Amazingly, I did. If I always knew the music would cross because of where it came from. You know, you got to think about Roxanne Roxanne.
She needs a guy like me with a high IQ. And she'll take to my rap, cause my rap's the best. The educated rapper MD will never fess.
You know, that big beat, that's Billy Squire. You know, so we would listen to, you know, groups like the Sarone 4.
When we're together, feeling the heat, move that sexy body for me.
We would listen to groups like the Thompson Twins, Phil Collins when he was at Genesis. We were true kids who really stuck by that understanding of D-I-T-C-H, digging in the crates. We went shopping for different records. It didn't matter what the genre, because we wanted to find that breakbeat. We knew in music, every group always had a breakdown, even if it was one bar. And because, you know, we had DJs backing us, we would say, if we get that one drop and that drop is dope enough, keep cutting it back and forth so I can rhyme over it. So that became part of digging in the crates, and that became part of music history for us, that we started learning, you know, all type of genres and recognizing that, you know, you can find a beautiful breakdown anywhere.
So who would you rather be known as, Doc? Doc Ice from U.T.F.O or that cat from Houdini?
Well, I'd rather be known as Doc Ice and let the people do their own research and check my history and see how many groups, you know, I've been able to have a blessing to do a song with, or, you know, travel and tour with, so that people can know that Doc Ice is a chameleon. It doesn't matter, as long as I'm part of entertainment. That's a blessing to me.
Hey, and you're the first guy to ever hump a drum beat. Yeah, man, the air hump, the drum hump. You are the first, I think, to do it. Where does all that come from? That's a legacy right there. The drum hump and the air hump. You the king.
Well, you know, for us, you know, we you know, you young crazy wild boys, you know, and you're coming from, you know, doing what you do, you know, in block parties, you know, at the neighborhood association block parties, and then, you know, the girls started, you know, recognizing you, and, you know, we became young boys who we was like, what can we do to catch their attention?
I got it. So we can hump the air. Come on, I got a good idea,
you know,
boys.
Yeah, we said, that's right. We was before the Humpty Hump. We said, we're going to show y'all what that is, and then next thing you know, New Edition, Bobby Brown, everybody started doing it. Now the whole nation of hip-hop is doing it.
So you're a little bit more respondent to doing interviews with people that label the music old school, but there was a time that you didn't like that term old school. Tell me about that, Doc.
Well, for me, you know, coming through the whole understanding of what old school is, I recognize that it wasn't a thing of homage when people were saying it, when it first came out. It was a thing of disrespect. Case in point, my wife and I, we were at a comedy club back in the days up in Harlem, and we just was in there just chilling because we wanted to see the comedians, my boy Talent, a couple of other brothers. They were performing that night. So when we get in, the comics, they was like, oh man, we got a legend in the house. Doc Ice is in the house. So I was like, what's up? And as I said it, these young upcoming artists, they said, oh, sorry, he old school.
Oh.
So they said to the comedians, they know me. It's like, what? They said, yo doc, hold up. They said you old school. I said, for real? He said, yo, you want to come down here? And I was like, but nah, you guys, we doing the comedy. They was like, nah, we take some time for this, doc, because they knew back then, our thing was battling, whoever was trying to come at you, and they was hoping that artist would have some lyrics. And for me, I always stayed on my pen and pad. So when I come down, it was two young men and one female, and they was like, yeah, you old school. I was like, all right. I said, so what can we do? And they was like, doc, whatever you want to do. I said, I bet. Since it's three of y'all, I said, let's get a verse from each one of you, and you'll get 3 verses from me. But we'll go one at a time, and we don't want no music, so we can see if you're saying something. So the whole crowd was like, ooh. So when we finished, to make a long story short, we talk about, this shredded paper. I ripped each and every one of them up lyrically and focused on making sure that they recognized and respected, what we are as artists in the music business, one, and two, door openers for you, because here you are, young black artists, and you seeing a older black artist, and as opposed to giving them respect, you want to down him. Why do I say that? I don't think ever the Rolling Stones encountered some young white artist coming up to them saying, they old school. No, they respected them, they paid homage to them, and that's why to this date, they can still drop an album and tour and sell millions of records because the history of the culture respects them. And it should be the same with us. We fought to get this here. They don't recognize how much hard work we had to do when even not just hip hop is. We're talking about bands, black bands. They didn't respect us as hip hoppers. They didn't like that they had to bring all this equipment and we brought a DJ. So we had a hard fight coming, from the back, bringing it to the front when they were saying that, this hip-hop thing is going to be a fad, it's going to fade away. And I remember being on BET, and they asked all of us, and they said, Doc, what do you think, hip-hop is going to be 15 years from now? I said, I think it's going to be on top of the world. I said, it's the new thing. I said, young kids are getting involved. I said, there's no way that this is a fad. I said, this is a new music. And from that point on, that's when we started doing so well. We started selling more than computer chips. I mean, hip-hop, just whatever it touched, it turned it into hip-hop. And that's why they had to create a hip-hop, category, because we were rising up, and we was rising up commanding respect.
So you're Jalil's brother from Houdini.
Yes.
So hold on tight with all your might, cause I'll be rocking like this for the rest of the night. It's Jalil, your master rapper. And when I'm on the mic, it's a sheer disaster. Cause MCs crumble when we rumble. Some think I'm soft just because I'm humble.
All right, so Ja almost got beat up, and Flowers was around, and Flash was around, both of the Grandmasters. Tell me about exactly what was up there, where Jalil almost got beat down.
Well, let's be clear. I don't know if he saved him from a behind whipping or if he saved them from a behind whipping, because my brother's nothing to play with when it comes to his hands. So the key was, it just was a beef. What was the beef? The beef was that we from Brooklyn.
Okay.
And we knew, and I'm young, so I didn't know as deep as my brother because he's my older. I didn't know about Grandmaster Flowers, who was older than Grandmaster Flash, not knowing that he used to check out Grandmaster Flowers, and the next thing you know, he became Grandmaster Flash, so the story is told.
1 2 1 2 1 2, New York City, Right now you're listening to the sounds of the Grandmaster Flow is on your mind, eh? With the voice of a 1-8 cool DJ Aaron the Baron Kid, eh? That's right, as we do it from now until with the hip hop, we don't stop, cause we're on. I like the pop to go, and we're on. I like the Sunday morning show and go. Don't you know we're number one to make it stereo? We do the hip hop, bitty bop, bitty 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 dip dip. We don't stop. You put your foot on the right. You're listening to New York's number one, having a lot of money. I did it, dip dip bitty bop, bitty 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 dip bop. I can't stop. You put your foot on the right.
Remember, I'm the young buck. So when Jalil was expressing this, he was expressing what he knew and what he learned from all of these other DJs from Brooklyn who said that he got that name from Grandmaster Flowers. So they didn't want to accept that. So they wanted to beef about that. And when they wanted to beef about that, it became a kerfuffle because, this is something that they never heard of. So to make a long story short, he had to bring them to the side and express and introduce them to who Grandmaster Flowers was. And whatever they did and however they ended in that was on them. But Grandmaster Flowers is a DJ who was way before Grandmaster Flash, and Grandmaster Flash used to check this DJ out, and he was dope if you do your history on him.
Everybody had a Grandmaster back then. So Flowers is the first, then Flash, and even in your time in Houdini there was a maybe Grandmaster D was after you?
Oh yeah. I mean, we had so many. I mean, coming up back in the days, like, if we talk about before Wax, you had so many DJs. You had Master Don and the Def Committee.
Listen for the beatbox.
You had so many different, DJs because everybody wanted to have an extravagant name. But the first thing you had to do was have a following. Once you had a following, then you could have a name, that hopefully you built a name while you were building this following, and then that name became strong. So without a question, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five was definitely a force to be reckoned with, and we recognize that, being from Brooklyn and them being from the Bronx, we recognize that, and to this date, myself, because Melly Mel was Grandmaster Melly Mel.
I was sitting on the corner just a wasting my time, and when I realized I was the king of the rhyme, I got on the microphone, and what do you see? The rest was my legacy. I was born to be the king of the bebop swing that has stands in my dance, big diamond rings. I own the castle in the Yahoo million and gold, cause rap is a game that I control. I'm like Shakespeare, I'm a pioneer, because I made rap something people wanted to hear. See, before my reign, it was the same old same until the bar with the bar. That's
you had who else was? So many brothers who created that master name because it just had an effect to it. But to date, we became great friends. After the long understanding that we all was on the same page, trying to make a music well known, internationally. So whatever negative started out, the positive began to pick up in the long run because we recognized that we was on the same side.
Beats and rise. Beats and rise. Beats and rise. Beats and rise.
Rappers in the mixes, beat up all the ladies. We're the best and you can bet that we are now the greatest.
Just remember, don't forget your lovers, you don't hate us.
Stay on outside, don't you betray us. When you beat us, treat us right cause you need us. You need us tonight and you can't defeat us. Music evolved, the problem was solved. Party people must get involved.
So all you ladies in the place tonight, we got a rap we think will make you feel right. It ain't no problem.
Tell me about that song right there.
Oh man, beats and rhymes. For U.T.F.O. and myself, it was an introduction into the music business, getting our feet wet, so to speak, and it just became that thing that we said, this is going to be, like if you're talking about boxing, beats and rhymes was our jab. We thought it was going to be our right cross. But just in case, we did a B-side to Beats and Rhymes, and that B-side was Roxanne Roxanne. My bad. Beats and Rhymes was the first single, which was the jab. Then came another song, and you might call it, so I'm not going to say nothing until you bring that up. But Beats and Rhymes, was in that dance mode. Kangle and I, we had won a
Let me try to guess. Can I guess?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Bite it.
Our rhymes are recited,
And we are delighted to give you permission to bite it.
Yum, 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 yum. Skitty bop, bo bop, da bang, da 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 da.
Well, I'm the doc, right? All day and night, right? I'm black and white, right? Is that alright? So if it's alright, I guess I can rock you till I'm ready to stop, to break up.
Nope.
Let's see. Beats and Rhymes. Picture it, actually. Sorry. I thought I had it with Bite It, man.
It was called Hanging Out, Cooling Out. Without a doubt, it's all about hanging out. Hanging out and cooling out and chilling out. That's called Hanging Out.
Hanging out, cooling out. Without a doubt, it's all about hanging out. Hanging out and cooling out and chilling out. Without a doubt, it's all about hanging out. Hanging out, cooling out. Without a doubt, it's all about hanging out. Hanging out and cooling out and chilling out. Without a doubt, it's all about hanging out.
Oh, yeah. It was actually titled Hanging Out, right?
Yeah, that was the A side.
Hanging Out. I remember
and
that.
The B side to that was Roxanne
I said
Roxanne.
me, the doc, a hood, a rock, running around the street robbing people on the block. Nah, that's not my style. The crime, I'm not related. As far as I'm concerned, I'm too sophisticated. Then it seems I got cause she cracked a smile. That let me know my rap was worth a whole while. You said you call yourself a doctor. I said, listen to you, better explain to me.
Sure.
So our jab out was Beats and Rhymes because we thought, we needed a dance type vibe. We needed full force in there, singing with us so we can have all the ingredients because we were on, I guess we were in that young genre where, the beat, the break dancing, popping, locking was still in effect heavy. So we wanted something that was close to that vibe to compete, to hang out with those songs. So it didn't do as well as we would like it to do. Would have liked it to do, but then, we said, okay, we got to come at another shot. And that's when we did Hanging Out, which we thought was going to be the right cross. But just in case, we did the B-side, which was Roxanne Roxanne, which was the smartest thing we could have ever thought to do. And it became the monster smash to where people don't even know what Hanging Out is.
Out in Flatbush, you guys had a pizza spot where you and Kengo used to hang out. Tell me about that place.
Oh, man. That's amazing that you bring that up because you're the first person I think who's ever asked me about that. That pizza shop was called Lorenzo's Pizza Shop. We knew Lorenzo. He was the Italiano in the neighborhood, and he made sure that we had the best pizza in the neighborhood. But we would go there, and we would meet because, every Saturday, especially after school was out, we go there early Saturday. We in there getting our pizza, and him and I met there. And, we would be just doing dance moves and just, kind of talking about music. It's that ear thing. It was like that buzz in the street. And for some reason, him and I just connected, and he would be doing dance moves, pop locking up top, and I'll be moonwalking and doing stuff with the bottom parts of my leg, trying to get it all together. And that was the nucleus of us getting together and saying, hey, man, let's meet. We just started meeting. We always would have our pizza if we did, on the weekends, but we just would meet, connect, and from that point on, him and I became like brothers. I mean, he was at my house. I was at his house. He's introducing me to, Haitian food because his family's Haitian. So I'm like, wow, this is incredible. My mom, she black, so she giving him all the American black food, So we was just young kids growing up doing what the neighborhood was doing, and we were doing it early because before that, it was all about Skelly or racing or football, just the neighborhood things. But we weren't doing it in schools, so we was doing it in the neighborhood, doing it at the block parties. And for him and I, it was the best thing that could have happened to us.
So you guys are out on 43rd Street having a great gig, and somebody rolls up and pulls the plug. Explain to me what was going on that day.
We were becoming known in the neighborhood. We were the young, up-and-coming handsome rappers. And our goal... and our goal was we want to find out who was the best rappers in the neighborhood. So we was writing. We was putting things together. We was writing. So we happened to meet up with Howie T, who later became the real Roxanne DJ.
Sure, the hitman.
Yeah, man, I was out here cooling out on the corner, you know, with the fellas, and my father walked by, you know, and he looked at me and he said, yo, son, you can't be doing this every day. You got to get outside and get a 9 to 5, get a job.
When we met up with him, you know, he was with this group called, I think they was the U.T.F.O MCs, and what we said was, we was like, well, you know, we want to battle y'all. So when we said we wanted to battle them, because of egos, everybody, yeah. So the next thing you know, we tell them, all right, meet us on, they said, let's set it on 43rd, between Church and Linden. We was like, all right, bet. We're going to meet y'all there. So the day comes, so, you know, we all dressed in these light powdered blue nylon shirts back in those days. Everybody had on their Lee jeans and their Pumas or Adidas, whatever they liked, and all of us carrying crates through the party. And as we carrying crates through the party, it's a packed block party. People scream, ooh, U.T.F.O is in the house. And back then we was called U.F.O. It was like, U.F.O is in the house. And we coming. And we get up there to the sound booth with Howie and his boys. And Howie, let me tell you something about Howie T. One, he was known for sound. His sound was like immaculate. And two, he had, music out the wad. How he had so many crates. He would sleep on certain crates because he had so many records. So, you know, we knew what we was up against when we was cup challenging Howie T and the U.T.F.O MCs. So we get there. We got everything we need, but we needed to connect.
Wait, hold on a second, man. I got to get all scrunched down like we're about to egg a house the way you're telling this story. I'm not sure if I should be listening to it or not. So hold on, let me hunch down real quick.
So they connected us to them, and back then, you know, you had these different amps, and if the amp get hot, it would shut everything down. So, okay, you know, we're dealing with that. So we had to plug up to their sound. So we plugged up to their sound, you know, got the power from them. So battle starts happening. So as the battle starts happening and we start going, crowd starts screaming, we getting them involved. They pull that plug. When they pull that plug, it knocked the amp. So our amp wouldn't start back up. Naturally, they wasn't going to give us no amp because we had that crowd. The crowd was in our favor. Boo. So, you know, everybody, so now you're getting the boo, boo. We like, yo, they pulled the plug. We were saying it. And they was like, what's up with that? So we said, all right, this is what we're going to do. Since they want to throw that so you know, pull plugs and front, let's have a second battle. Meet us. We couldn't even call it a first battle, but we had to say that. Meet us on 55th between Linden and Lennox. They was like, I bet we gonna meet y'all on 55th between, and this is the block that the educated rapper lived on. So we was like, okay, if anything, we'll have backup in case something happens. So we get prepared, and we said, I think we said maybe a month or two later, maybe a month because it was the summer. So we get there, we get ready, and we prepare for them now. Now our anxiety and ego is to the moon. So we get there, they don't show up, but they got flunkies in the crowd trying to represent them. So and the block party was packed because everybody heard about the news. We apologized. We said, yo, we don't know why they didn't show up, but I guess they were scared to come see what we was going to bring them. And for the crowd, we said, but we going to act like they're here anyway. So for all they funkies that's here, we taking the battle to them. And we went into it. And we tore them in half. When I say we tore them in half, they couldn't take it. The flunkies couldn't take it. You know, the crowd went crazy. It became, you know, the new thing. Like it was known that we was the new kids on the block when it came to hip hop.
That's a great story. Tell me what it was like being on the Gene Rayburn show and on Phil Donahue. I mean, it was a different time. You guys were just, I don't even know Gene Rayburn had a show. I only remember him from Match Game, so.
Well, that was a special treat for us because, like I was telling you earlier, we had joined the Disco Fever dance contest where they had, you know, dancers and rappers that was battling, you know, in different cities around the states, and the finalists ended up battling at Radio City Music Hall. So, you know, me and Kango, we was with another partner. We called ourselves the Keystone Dancers at the time. So, we battled, and we did the rap as well. Fat Boys was a part of that at the Disco Fever that ended up at Radio City. It was a 10-Pen Alley extravaganza.
And Steve Salem took you to this, correct?
Oh, he was the first person to take us to the Bronx, to the Disco Fever, not even full force. Steve Salem took us up there and introduced us to what hip-hop was going on up there because he was really interested in how he could move us. So, when we went up there, it was just an amazing feel. And when we ended up...
Fat Boys, Tin Pan, the spectacle that is Radio City Music Hall.
Oh, man, listen, it was amazing. And then when we won that dance contest... they said to us the winning prizes was that they would give us a dance scholarship to go to a dance school. So me and Kango was like, we just won a contest that beat out thousands of people, and you want us to go to a dance school? We was like, we could teach dance. We decided not to do that, and that's when my brother Jalil was like, well, we think about this tour that we get about to go on because they just doing the Mr. Magic thing, and the Magic's on, and he was like, y'all want to roll with us? We was like, yeah. So in the meantime and in between time, calls was coming in for us, and one of those calls was Phil Donahue, and he was like, he said, I want you guys to come on my show. So we did the Phil Donahue show, we did the Gene Rayburn show, we did the Bill Boggs show, and in between that, being on Phil Donahue, what's his name? My goodness, a big time actor called for us, and he was like, oh man, I'm so mad I can't say his name. I'll get his name. But anyway, he called us and said he wanted us to perform for his daughter's 13th birthday. Her name was Jennifer.
You got her name down, don't you? But you can't remember the fool that hired you.
I got it, Dustin Hoffman. So.
Hold on a second. Some name dropping going on. Let me pick up that name you just dropped.
There you go. So he called us. He said, would you guys perform as a surprise? Because she saw us on the show and went crazy. So we jumped on we came to the performance they had in the city for her party they had, and we rocked the party. After the party, he was like, you guys, listen, anything you ever need, I got you guys. I will support you. You just call me. And we was excited, and we had that number, and we called him after, and he never picked up on us.
I was going to say, I bet he never picked up the phone, did he? Damn it.
He never picked up the phone, and we felt like that's when we started getting the taste of, oh, man, people do a lot of talking.
Some music business for you.
Yeah, man. So we enjoyed that, but then the next thing Ja was like, all right, we getting ready to go out. This is end of 83, getting ready to go into 84. So we went overseas. We did so well that they wanted us to stay. We was like, we can't. We got to go back home. So then they asked us to come back. We came back and we did a straight 3-month tour or 3.5-month tour overseas, London, Italy, France, Holland, Belgium, Sweden. We were everywhere over there performing, and I'm talking about if we had 2 or 3 days off a week, that was a lot. We performed every single day. It was amazing. They loved it. They couldn't get enough of it. And in the meantime and in between time, Houdini was recording their first album because we was only doing the Haunted House of Rock, Magic's Wand.
It's all in Mr. Magic.
I think maybe Friends or one of them, but we were just fresh into the album.
From the start, we used to get together at the dark. Sometimes we rap, sometimes we sing. In the summer or the winter, cause it ain't no.
When that tour was over, it was like we came back home, and it was like they put together the Fresh Fest, and the next thing you know, fresh off their overseas tour, we on Fresh Fest. Run DMC, Houdini, the
LL.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It was amazing.
Fat Boy.
Yeah, it was huge.
To rock your pie, a space provided by the
I got the gun, you got the brew, you got to.
Beastie Boys. Everybody was in and out, back and forth. But that was the guys who created that was the same guys who created the soul. What is it? The Universal Circus.
Okay, no, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, well, that's a black circus that they go around, and
hold on, I've seen a documentary on that. I take that back. I have seen it.
And these are the same guys that created the Fresh Fest and it was sponsored by Swatch Watch and Sprite. I mean, it was an amazing tour. We did really well, to date. People talk about that Fresh Fest. They tried to do a couple more, but the original one, it was nothing like it.
So your biggest hit to date, Roxanne Roxanne. You guys have already been to Europe. I got to know, did anybody hit it with Roxanne?
Oh, Roxanne?
Yeah.
I'm the real Roxanne, and I'll rock your world.
What do you mean?
Well, you say that.
Come on, Doc. You know what I mean, man.
Since I'm the new girl around the block, the Kango kid and especially Doc would like to sleep with me if he can. But you're just a boy, you're not even a man.
What are you talking about, B?
Come on, man. Every time I talk about something like that, dudes are always thinking about it. Come on, man.
Let me be honest, for me.
The rocks give up the box so you can brag about it for the next 6 blocks. Shit, you must be crazy. You're going too fast. Doctor, I don't know where your hands been last.
Did you take it to the beach? That's what we planned. But she stood me up. Roxanne, Roxanne.
Did you take it to the beach? That's what we planned.
But she stood me up. Roxanne. I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, she was a sweetie pie, man, and we worked hard together, and it was a blessing to have her, be a part of our growth, with the real Roxanne and Roxanne Shante, because they both really fought well to keep the strength of hip hop for females going.
He said, you call yourself an MC. I said, this is true. He said, explain to me really what MCs must be. Said, listen very close, because I don't say this every day. My name is Roxanne, and they call me Shante. But every time of that, I say a rhyme, just like a disser.
So how long actually was it? Because that fight seemed like it went on forever. What was it, a year or two, the Roxanne battles?
I say longer than that, because every time we seen each other, it was beef.
Oh, okay.
Because we felt like they were stepping on our record.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So for us, you can ask McMaster. He'll tell you we feel like that infringed on our sales, because now we opening the doors for others. So what we doing is basically, if you had a bowl with one spoon and you was eating, now you got 5 spoons in your one bowl. So it definitely took away, but at the same time it added, because it became something that was unique.
Tell me about Roxanne the rap.
Yeah.
Since she's a new girl around the block, I had to let her know I was the debonair doc. I said I like to speak with you if I can. And if I'm correct, hey, your name is Roxanne. She said, how'd you know my name? I said, it's getting around. Right now, baby, you're the talk of the town. Please let me walk you to the corner. My rap will be brief. She said, I've seen you before. You look like a thief. I said, me? The doc? A hood? A rock? Run around the street robbing people on the block? Nah, that's not my style. The crime, I'm not related. As far as I'm concerned, I'm too sophisticated.
Well, where'd it come from? Who's the main writer?
Well,
you?
Well, I'm one of the supreme writers. The title came from B-Fine from Full Force. He came to us one day and he was like, man, you guys should do a song about a girl named Roxanne. And we was like, Roxanne? And he was like, yeah. He said, and not like the police. We're gonna call her Roxanne. It was his brainstorm, his idea to do this song about this girl named Roxanne. So we decided to get into it. We was like, all right, cool. We wrote the pieces, and I when I got into it, I expressed my view on it. Kango expressed his view, and we all decided that none of us could get her because she was so fine. And we knew females in the neighborhood like that. So Roxanne was a real character who was created. This was true that went on in the neighborhood. You had females that would not talk to you because you lived in the neighborhood, and they was fine as all outdoors. So Roxanne was definitely something that we created from something that existed in the neighborhood.
Doc Ice and Mixmaster Ice, square this away for me. Too many ices in one. Maybe you guys are too cold, man.
Well, Mixmaster had his name Ice, because they called him DJ Ice.
That's back in the U.F.O days, right?
And, his real name is Maurice. So he took the last ICE off of his name, and that's where he got his name. For me, when I used to moonwalk, people would say, man, you look like you on ice, Doc. I was like, yeah. I said, well, so I was thinking of a name. I wanted something big, so I came up with the debonair Dr. Ice. Always wanted to be a doctor, but didn't want to do the schooling because of how long I heard it would take to achieve the accomplishment. So I decided to bring it into the music and become a music hip-hop doctor. For me, it was a lot easier because I was already connected.
I love that line. I had to let her know I was the debonair doc. That's one of my favorite lines of that song.
Thank you, Reed.
Yeah, man, serious. So,
yeah.
You guys are one of the first groups that can sing rap dance in just one show.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Sing, rap, dance. Kango at least could. in the song, and you guys wanted to be known for longevity as to who U.T.F.O was, and looky here, you've made it a career. Can you believe that?
That's amazing because, most people who go to college, they usually don't come out of college with a job that they went to college for. So for us to be able to go to a so-called hip-hop college and to come out doing what we went to school for all these years, you have to say we've been on a slide for a very long time. So it's been a blessing to be able to say we want to do all of these things and stay connected to the home of hip-hop. And we got blessed to do so. So we have to humble ourselves and thank Jehovah, the Almighty God, for blessing us, with the talent to do so. And then the humbleness to thank people for them, paying that attention to us, because without them, where would we be? So the connection was on both sides, that they accepted us and we was given something that they could accept and appreciate when it came to music.
What are you referring to now?
Well, for me, it was just the neighborhood.
Oh, the school of hard knocks.
Us sitting down together, paying attention to what was going on around the neighborhood and saying, we're gonna take the chance and stay on this, not go to school and get all of these different degrees. It was a sacrifice, but for us, the sacrifice, was worth it. Later on we got proclamations from the city and citations from, the borough president, Eric L. Adams from Brooklyn, different accolades, different keys to the city. The growth was beautiful. What we would have really loved is that they would have given us, a retirement, something that we could live off to where we wouldn't have to work so hard, 40 years later, still in the game, because they don't have no, retirement, fund for old school artists. So it becomes a tough place at the end of your career, because after that, you don't have no resume that you could bring to a blue collar job. You have to figure it out from that point on. So it makes it tough, but there's a joy in it as well.
So you met Dustin Hoffman. That's a perk of the gig. Were there any other perks of the gig where you got to meet somebody, or because of who you were, you had special access or the like?
Well, I got blessed to do a video with Michael Jordan called Michael Jordan's Playground. And, it was through Full Force and my cousin Gary Reeves. They, what happened was, in the split of me doing hip-hop, I recognized that at one point it was moving slow, or I wasn't keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. So I always connected with the acting field, entertainment field. So I was connected with a company that was, getting me different commercials. So I was doing, Hawaiian Punch commercials. I was doing Pizza Hut commercials. I was doing Miller Lite commercials. So I was making money on the side, and it was pretty good money. So the project came up where me and my partner Wiz, we had did a dance for Fiat. Fiat was doing a commercial for the new Uno Fiat car over in Italy. So we did the dance, the battle, and why we call it a battle is because other people are trying to get the commercial. Me and my partner, we got the commercial. At that same time, they was like, Doc, they're doing the Michael Jordan's Playground video. You want to be down? I was like, yeah, I want to be down. I was like, how much are they paying? And they was like, well, you can get publicity, because it's Michael Jordan, so you'll get some publicity and da-da-da-da. I was like, I'm going to go do the Fiat commercial, because they was paying well. So I said, I'm flying over there, and I'm going to do that commercial. And they was like, you sure, Doc? I said, I'm sure, because I was about making money trying to bring something home. So me and my partner, we go over to Italy. We stay 2 weeks. When I'm about to come home, I get a call from Full Force, and they was like, Doc, if you want, instead of going straight home, fly to California, and you still could be in the video. You'll just be opposite the role, because I was going to have the main role of the guy who played Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan, he got cut from his high school team. that was the thing they wanted to show, that anything is possible. If Michael could do it, you could do it. So I said, all right, I'm gonna fly in. So I flew back to California. Ended up doing the video with him, meeting him. He's a pleasure to be around, man. It was a pleasure to meet him and to just get to know his personality, for that short period of time. So that was one thing I did. I also, who else I did things with? I mean, me and Tommy Hearns, we were tight. I got a chance to meet Muhammad Ali. Him and I got real close as he got older. Before the Parkinson's got heavy on him, that's how I got to meet his daughter, May. Her and I, we would talk on the phone because they were trying to get into hip-hop at the time. Straight from the heart. I mean, like, when I say I've learned what platonic was, I learned it through them. And then I got a chance to meet so many people. Myself and you remember a artist, a pop artist named Dino?
Of course I played Dino. I like it.
Because that's the way I like it. You're taking me to heaven 24/7. You're mine.
24/7. Romeo, you're on Romeo.
Exactly. And I got a chance to, to chill with him, meet Arsenio.
I love you so I can't let go of these feelings in my heart.
Hello, fly girl, how you doing? It's Dr. Icy Dino with the love jokes for you. And hey, I'm coming right and exact. Gonna be your Romeo. This is straight up fact. Wanna love you the way I do. Kiss you from at the door and do things you never thought possible to express how I feel about you. Don't move slow, just kinda go with the flow and let your hair down low for me, yo, Romeo.
I'm a fan of the format, a huge fan. Anybody that knows me knows that. From the 20-pleated Bogarts in a high school at age 16, way over on the West Coast, taking crap from everybody. They didn't even call little white kids wiggas back then.
Wow.
But I'm an original. I'm an O-dub.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I love you for standing firm for that, because you were fighting for us when we didn't even know it. Our goal was Steve Salem before he passed. This is why I loved him so much. He would say to us, don't worry about those who you already got. He was like, worry about that lonely little young white girl that lived way in the country somewhere where she can't even get out to the store unless she on a car, somebody drives her, into the city. He made us think different.
Steve Salem had that global thought. He was correct about it.
Oh yeah, man. He was the reason for Snow, the Jamaican white artist that blew up. That was him.
Oh,
he saw
Informer.
Things. Yeah, he was the reason for Full Force stopping the push of being artists and becoming producers first, and maybe that would open the door for them being artists. It was his thought process that, to me, if he was alive today, U.T.F.O would be in a different position because of his fight for us. He would fight for us. He would make sure that no matter what happened, we was a part of everything moving with hip hop, because we was. He recognized it, and he felt like we should have been respected for it. So I miss him for his brain set, and I miss him for his strength.
Rest in peace, Steve Salem. You guys have just had so many great songs. Like, again, I'm such a fan of songs like Yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh man, bite it.
So if it's alright, I guess I can rock you till I'm ready to stop, to break up. I buzz the way I feel now, I just got to rock. Cause I write rhymes like I pray every day. Cause I always got to have something new to say. Cause you always got the brothers with the negative mind saying, man, he's running the same old rhyme. And you know who's saying? All of the biters trying to take credit from us writers. I say a line, they bite it, and now they think they're winning. But the middle's so first, they forgot the beginning. Then they try to bite it line for line. But by that time, I'm at the end of my rhyme. But in this case, bite it for me, cause it's certified by Dr. ICE, so bite it.
Bite It was a song that, we did because back in the days, if you was a biter, that was one thing we would disrespect you on heavily. Our goal was to be unique, to be separate from every other artist, to show and express how we could be different and still make a difference in the hip-hop genre. So when it came to Bite It, man, our goal was to tell them our rhymes are recited, and we are delighted to give you permission to bite it. And me and Kango, we used to, because like you said, We wanted to do everything in hip hop. So we was doing the beatbox at shows, and Kango could master that, yam, to sound like a gremlin. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the beat, Kang, and you do the gremlin. He's like, bet. So he's like, boom, yam, boom, 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 boom, yam, skitty bam, 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 and the crowd would go crazy when we did that. So we got a ball, like we had a good joy just entertaining that crowd. That was our goal. Whatever we could do to entertain y'all, that's what we do. We crack jokes. We would show them our different levels of talent, and then we would show them our skills.
What type of record deal did you guys get signed in? Do you make money off of Roxanne? Does somebody make money off Roxanne? How does it go about when Roxanne's played?
Well, I will.
Who's the recipient of the glory? Who gets the goods?
Yeah, I gotta say yes. Are they what we expected? No. Did we sign? Yeah. Did we know better? No.
That's everybody's story, man. You're not alone.
Would we have liked somebody to really teach us better? Yeah. It's like, being young and you tell a young kid something and the person tells you that thing that you shouldn't do or pay attention to, and you yes them, but then at the end of the day, it didn't work out like you would have wanted to work. So I definitely take some blame in my position and where I stand. But I also look at it, like we should have been protected. We was kids. We should have been protected, and since it didn't happen, I can't cry over that spilled milk. My goal is to stay focused and to thank the Almighty Jehovah, I will say it to the day I die, for allowing me to be able to eat every single day and rest in a home every single day and wear a smile on my face every single day, because I'm happy with life, not what happened to me in life. I'm happy with life. So when I get up in the morning and I can see another day and see my children and my wife and thank my God, I'm blessed and I'm thankful for that.
Tell me about the song Split Personality, Doc Ice, and what is it, man? Is it just trying to encompass everything that you are as a rapper or the many talents that you had at rapping, considering the dialects and the different stuff you did? And all of this was so new back then.
Split personality.
Split personality. I got 5 people inside of me trying to control my body. I know they're there without a doubt, cause every once in a while they'll all speak out like, what is it? What can it be? Get with it, get busy. Don't laugh, cause I can't control it. I try my best to hold it and hold it, but you see, they got the best of me. Poo-poo, merci, oui, oui. I wish they'd leave me alone and then I'll be free. Oh, Dr. Ice, so sorry. Ne holy young, goy ho fi young. Noi goy ne mo young. You I chong, ne mo kong. Leon got foon, ho ho song. I be fighting it, my boy, you can't control me, cause I chew yard man, that's what my father told me. You can't, what me say, make the young get bar. So spar with me, I don't spar at all. Yo, it's getting crazy, it's getting out of hand. 5 personalities is more than I can stand. But bear with me until it's gone. Uh-oh, I feel another one coming on. What's up, party people in the place to be? My name is Miguel Chief Rocker MC.
Amazingly, we used to do the block parties back in the days when we were battling. This was something that Kango came up with, and we decided to make it a record. So when we decided to make it a record, I was like, man, he got the 2 personalities. I gotta figure out how to touch that. And I would always do accents and languages and joke. So I said I probably could do that in the rap, act like, because remember we knew about Sybil way back in the days and all these different people coming out of her. And I was like, I could do that. So I just sat down. I talked to some of my Asian friends, my Spanish friends.
Some of your Cuban friends, your Spanish friends. Yeah.
Papi, listen, man, I said, Papi, I want to do this song called Split Personality. You got to help me.
Oh,
so they would sit with me and make sure I was saying, like the right pronunciation, even if it's like, tú eres linda y quiero saber tu nombre. Para triunfarte conmigo. Para mi paraíso.
Check it out, See, I could be a married man with a beautiful wife, but then again,
so I had to figure out how to transact, how to come out like singing. If you're gonna hit a high note or you start on one note and you're like, and you rise out, it was the same thing in the transaction of the the personalities. So I just worked on it, and man, it came out to be immaculate. We got to meet the OJs and Levert in Ohio, and we actually won a award for Split Personality being the top song out there.
That might have been one of the dopest, illest tracks at its time. I mean, the production, just the thought of doing the multilingual delivery. I mean, what else? How else can I praise you on Split Personality? You did. Now, we move up to Leader of the Pack, and that is a song that showcases Mixmaster Ice. Did he say, guys, I need a song about myself, the DJ, or did you guys figure in a way to tribute Mixmaster Ice in Leader of the Pack? He's all what we call the Leader of the Pack.
Well, we decided to do a song to tribute to him because to us, he was truly a mix master. He was truly nice when it came to, cutting and scratching up records. So just watching him was amazing because he would practice. I mean, it just was amazing to see him get into his practice. And when we did the song, that's when we would sit together and we would say, we need to figure out the best things we could say, about him. And that's what we started doing. We started just creating, just the dopest rhymes, we could create.
Mixmaster! All across the metropolitan USA, everybody with a mouth talking about DJ Mixmaster. DJ Ice, to be precise, the boy is nice. Cause he can cut butter, cut records, cut a girl in two. And all your whack DJs that got the best out of you. They'll cut paper, cut bread, cut down a tree. And make you wish you were dead when you might as well be. As a matter of fact, to be exact, this is not fiction, this is all fact. The man in the back is dressed in black. He's called what we call Leader of the Pack. And I'm Dr. Ice, so debonair. You can tell that I'm a doctor by the clothes that I wear. And I'm the world's most educated rapper, MD. And I've caused much damage in the place to be. And as a matter of fact, to be exact, this is not fiction, this is all fact. The man in the back is dressed in black. He's called what we call Leader of the Pack.
Yes, he is above the average man, and he'll cut up anything he can. He started from the bottom and took the right route. Now the is a fresh and that's without a doubt. To put a little bit of Roxanne in there, explain to me really what doctors must do, because for me, I'm one of the first rhythm rappers on rhyme, on wax, because back in the days, everybody was just straight rhyming. But I was one of those that I wanted to play with my words rhythmatically, saying things like, I want a nice individualistic, that's not materialistic, not even egotistic, I just like them sensibilistic. My thing was...
You guys were way ahead of your time with all that stuff,
I really feel like that because I wanted to touch people. I wanted them to see how much you could do with words before having to go to cursing.
And you never had to go there.
Nah, I mean, I did, and
did you dabble in it a little bit?
A lot of it, like after after leaving U.T.F.O and going solo, I'm fighting, trying to make it, and the industry is changing. It's going from...
What year are you referring to?
95, 96.
So in 94, that's Dre had already taken control, and radio was going gangster.
Exactly. So what I did was, me and my cousin, we sat down and we created a group called 1 and 1. And I went to Marky D from the Fat Boys. He introduced me to a production group named Swinger Things, and they gave me this beat. We titled it Phenomenon. And if you look at it now, Bubba, if you check it out now on YouTube, it's up to 3.5 million views. You'll see that song birthed a lot of the Jadakisses and all of those different artists that come behind us. I'm just speaking for me. I believe it's one of the most wittiest songs of the era. To date, if you look at the responses of people responding 2-3 weeks ago, saying it has to be the most realest song ever. I changed my hair, made it blonde, put it in puffs, called myself Sunny Boy. I changed the name because I felt like, the era I'm coming from, they're trying to just shut us down all the way.
Sunny Boy will splash your ass faster than the flash with position missing. Like the Marley lad exists in opposition missing. What it takes to be competition position. The key, watch the O&E and the O&E make the path I won't get loud and rip. Just don't play me too close, you put yourself at risk. Got a bunch of niggas' names on my shit list. And one day when I'm pissed, I'll take care of this. While my mind twists and turns, I burns like an insect. Get on my stage for this abyss won't infant. It ain't no misprint. Explore poetry's out of limits. Fuck a gimmick. If I said it, I've been it or did it. Send it back to the drawing board and come back later with new plans, new mans, new bands, new jams. Maybe the you and yours can roll among savage lords. Riding brainwaves like white boys on surfboards. The G, the same as the industry. Don't expect the disrespect without receiving injury. 20 MAD, lyrically, we be bumping to the rap MC frontin'. Do them side, what them want do them side.
Phenomenon. This is phenomenon.
I was like, reinvent yourself. You could do it. I felt I had the power in the pen, and we did it. And to this date, this song is continuing to climb. There's no way we're at 3.5 and it wasn't a hit record. We were signed to Next Plateau Records with Eddie O'Loughlin. He didn't believe in the song. He didn't believe in us, though he signed us. And we charted on Billboard. The record grew its own legs without him. They didn't put no money in it. And the next thing you know, the label folded and we was on our own.
So 86, that's the same label that turned out Sweet Sensation in 86.
Yeah.
And then what's it get to be 9 years down the road? And
96.
10 years, sorry. My math's a little foggy.
Yep. And you know who got me that deal? Steve Salem.
You owe a lot to Steve Salem.
I owe a lot to Steve Salem.
Now I want to talk about the most different song that you guys ever performed. It was so far and away from what you did.
Be my fairy tale lover.
Tell me about Fairy Tale Lover. Who was the singer?
All of us. It was something that Kango had pushed because he was into the singing thing and writing songs.
Here, let's get some of it right now, man. That's too good. Fairy Tale Lover, U.T.F.O.
Okay.
They say if you believe in fairy tales, your love will never fail. If this myth is true, sweetheart, you know what we should do. Be like Alice in Wonderland, Jack and Jill holding hands. And every afternoon we can watch the clouds jump over the moon. And if it happens to get cold, we can take a walk down a river road. And if we run into a little bo peep, we can help her find the street.
That's the jam. I don't care how old you are. If you were going to a slow dance back then, if I was DJing the gig, man, I for sure played Fairy Tale Lover. It was so cool. It was so far and away removed from what you guys did, and the ballads were banging at that time. And just what a great song.
Run from Run DMC said it was the reason why he wrote Peter Piper.
Really?
Yeah, he said when he heard us singing, let's be like Alice in Wonderland. He was like, man, if they could write about, the fairy tales like that singing, I could write a rap about that. And that's where you get the Peter Piper, Pick Peppers, Boom Boom Rock Bomb, Humpty Dumpty Fell Down, this is real tough, Jack the Nibble, Bob Nibble, and he was quick for jam, Mass Mud, Faster Jacks on Jay's dick. So he said that's the thing that made him write that. So for me, I thank Kango for pushing me in that direction, because it was never a direction I was in. I'm wholehearted hip-hop. I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to sing, Kang. I'm trying to rhyme. That was my mental. But doing that was a wise thing, because we were on tour with an audition. It allowed us to balance out, our show performance, to the crowd that they were bringing and that we were being introduced to.
Like you needed more ladies at the backstage door. Hold on. Let's get a ballad. We're not hot enough. We need something for the girls. Not enough chicks. Come on, Doc. Come on, man.
Yeah, because remember, we were singing in beats and rhymes.
Sure.
So we just needed to bring it back and to go slow. Oh, that was something different.
Every time I hear a Too Short or a Snoop Dogg and I hear the Whiz-I, Kazizai, Manizai,
they can't. Look.
The Kango Kid is where I heard that stuff first.
And baby, while you nizzle, the is-I is the grizzly, kizzle, gizzle. I thought you'd be impressed and give me devious rap. I thought I had a book inside my sinister trap. I thought it'd be a piece of cake, but it was nothing like that. I guess that's what I keep a thinking, ain't that right, black? It's Grizzly to get some, and see this number with some. Grizzly is like a teaser of his just like a dealer with a bang, bang. Brother, I feel bad, but I ain't committing suicide for no crap.
I mean, that's been going on since 1984.
They can't take no credit for that because it even goes to the point of the double Dutch bus. Remember that song? Wizzy is Flizzy and Dizzable Dizzat.
Oh, that's right. So it's Frankie Smith Double Dutch Bus.
Let me enlighten you. It's even before him.
Give me a hoe if you got your funky bus fare. There's a double Dutch bus coming down the street.
It was a street code. Like, when we were coming up, it was a street code for all the little thugs in the neighborhood who would try to, it came from, the Swahili.
That's ghetto pig Latin is what that is.
So what they was doing was they used it to, kind of make codes to each other to whether they was going to do a negative to somebody or a positive to somebody.
Really?
But they only knew the language. So for me, I picked it up because I was maybe, I'm going to say 12, 13, when I picked up Pig Latin, and I mastered it. It became one of the things that I picked up from learning about, what was back in the days called the 5%ers who believed in, Islam and say they were searching for, understanding, whatever. But that was on them. For me, I was, just listening to things that intrigued me. So to hear them say, Yizzle, Dizak, Hizak, Willie, Trizana, Gizzle was over his ear, to Pizik, Gizzle is up. I was like, woo, I like that, because it was a language.
You're still pretty good at that, man. I got to give it to you.
My daughters, when I talk to them, I talk to them in Pig Latin. So now they have two languages, and then they teach it to their friends and so on. So we sit back, in the house, and they laugh because they're like, Dad, where did that come from? I'm like, God, guys, before y'all was born, I'm 51. And my girls, they just turned 13. They get a kick out of it. They tell me, Dad, don't talk English to us. Talk Pig Latin. So we talk Pig Latin around the house like almost 80% of the time. So that came from the street, and then we rhythmatically learned to put it on record, and Kango did it on our record, but he didn't invent it. That came from the streets.
I just had to set the record straight, man, because every time I hear that song, someone taking credit, whether it's Snoop doing his stuff, Frankie Smith via Kango Kid. Right? And then you're taking credit for it. No go. I tell you, in every crazy hijinks movie that involves bad guys, from Who's the Man to the house parties, I think that they were the bad guys, you hooked up with Full Force. How does that go about? You get together with these guys. Are they a bunch of mushrooms?
Yeah.
Are they a bunch of fun guys?
No, they are. Like Bow-Legged Lou used to do these videos in the back of his house, and he would call me, Doc, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm chilling. Here, come on my house. We creating a video. So they would create stuff like, Scared Straight in the backyard with all the young kids, and they would be the big bullies. They call each other Blue, Black, and Red, and they supposed to be the jail guys. They'd be the jail guys, and then they have us like standing against the wall, and then they be talking to us like they in jail trying to scare straight, but it'd be all funny. Me and B-Fine, Bow-Legged Lou would create these different skits, man, and we would do them like the dating game. He got all of this filmed. He filmed me when I was 16. Just filmed me doing all of these different, skits with him, his brothers, his cousins, and we had a ball. So Full Force, they became like, our big brothers, without a question, without a doubt. And joyous big brothers, not corny big brothers that just want to beat you up. To my big brothers that wanted to play and have fun with you, whether it be video games or whether it be creating something that, kept the neighborhood busy. They were just like that.
Fairy Tale Lover is one of those ballads that just shined, along with, say, Turn Off the Lights from World Class Wrecking Crew. In the Valley of Hip Hop, we have some divots for ballads.
Oh, yeah.
Where does Whistle and Right Next to Me come into play? It's got some kind of play to U.T.F.O, if I'm not mistaken.
That's Kango. He went into production with a few of his other peoples, and they created the whole Whistle vibe that just blew up and kind of tracked behind U.T.F.O. So you would have to ask Kango on that on another level because he really did a good job with them.
Gotcha.
Goodbye. It's time for me to go. I'll call you in the morning so I can let you know the way I really feel, girl, to put your mind at ease. If I don't, then who will? If I make it, I still want you to be there with me. Girl, oh girl, every man is a woman. You're the woman that I choose, and I can't afford to lose you, baby. I'll be there one day and you will be right next to me. I'll be there one day and you will be right next to me. I swear to the world, you'll always be my girl. Just see you be right next to me.
Tell me, Doc, all these years later, who would you like to thank?
Well, I just want to, first off,
the One and One fans. Thank them all.
Yeah. Now, too, But what I would love to say is that never got a chance to thank y'all, for blessing us with the platform to be able to bring you good music. And I definitely want to say, don't let them take nothing from us. Age doesn't matter when it comes to music. If you just look across the whole scope of other artists, other groups, they grow up out of the music. Frankie Beverly and Maze, same thing. Even though they're singers, it's the same thing in hip-hop. If the artist is saying something, if he moving you, if you enjoy him, don't let nobody else peer pressure you into disrespecting that person, because at the end of the day, remember, the world goes round. If that person is feeding their family because of your joy of something that they're giving to you, you're giving something to them too. So don't think that you're not doing something for them. Continue to show your love. Continue to look for us. Doc Ice, we're here. Continue to look for us. Houdini, we're here. U.T.F.O, we struggling, but we still live in life.
But we're here.
Yeah, but we're here. We live in life, and we want to let you know that when it comes to music, music is for everybody. Nobody can tell us because we 60, 70, we can't listen no more, because we can't make it no more. That's foolish. Any man, any woman can make a living out of something that they believe in, as long as they got people who believe in them. So keep believing in us. Thank you guys for your love for all of these years.
Some wise words coming from Doc Ice of U.T.F.O.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
I appreciate those words, man. And you got wife and kids. What's Doc Ice doing with his life?
Well, right now, I am a dedicated, devout Jehovah's Witness. That is my first and foremost, journey, is to let people know about them, let them make their own decisions on the choices they'd like to make. But I'd like to introduce them to them if they haven't heard about them or learned about them, and let them be able to see how good he is, how good he's been to me, and so many millions of others, and hopefully they can find that same joy and that same love and that same hope that we have. Aside from that, my wife and I, we're taking care of our twins who are 13, identical girls, Paris and Natalia. Our son, who's 22, and he's just focused on, he's into the music as well. I have children outside of my marriage. My daughter, my son, he calls himself Son of Ice. My daughter, Naquasia, my son, Justin, they all are touching on the music. You can see that it's in the blood, and I just hope that they do well, but that they recognize that it's a tough game, and so many people got different agendas, so you got to make smart decisions. So at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you're not upset with yourself. You recognize, and either you learn from it, because like we learn spiritually, trials and tribulation iron out endurance. So if you go through certain things, you become either stronger or you get broke. We don't get broke. We become stronger so that we can be able to help somebody else who might be following the same rope as passing that baton.
Now, do your kids think you're cool, or did they think you were whack, and maybe now they're starting to figure out as they get older what really happened? Tell me.
No, they all think I'm cool, but they laugh when they be doing their little nay-nay and I do the dance, and they be like, Dad, not like that. So we be So we be here battling, laughing, and joking, but we definitely have a good time because the respect level is high, from each and every one of us. So my kids, they keep me young. I gotta say that.
What's your favorite lyric to spit? Give me one of those familiar lyrics you love as we close out the show. Come on, give me a
U.T.F.O. crew, you know what you can do. I'm going to say something that you've never heard, okay? Because the history is so far past, I want to give them something new, and then they can go and compare to what's old.
Let's get that lyric. Spit it for me. Bring it.
Here we go. We say, you think that it only takes place at the top, but even when you drop, people want that little spot. Now fathers fighting sons and mothers fighting daughters, but even underground the worms live by some orders. We the lowest of the low, what they call bottom feeders, new hate breeders, feeding that poison to a fetus. It's facetious. It leaves the doc speechless. You can't plant onions and expect to grow peaches. Gotta read, teach the teachers, cut loose the leeches. But when you talk change, that's when you hear the screeches. Tell your friends you went to college and God your degree. You look on their face, you'll see the envy, but tell them you went to jail, got locked up in the can. You get mad props like, yo, you the man. It's crazy out here. It's warped in the hood, because good means bad and bad means good.
Oh, snap. Just like that. U.T.F.O. You sound like such a guy who's at peace with where he is right now, and you sound so thankful.
One love, B, and I thank you so much for staying true. As long as you know I'm on the other side doing the same thing, I can't let it go. It's what we do.
Appreciate you, man, on my show. I've been a huge fan since back in the day.
My girls still groove. Homeboys bust a move. I'll beat and rhymes you can't resist. Bust this. Beats and rise. Beats and rise. Beats and rise. Beats and rise.
Rappers in the faces, beat up all the ladies. We're the best and you can bet that we are now the greatest. Just remember, don't forget your lovers, you don't hate us.
Stay on outside, don't you betray us.
When you beat us, treat us right, cause you need us. You need us tonight and you can't defeat us.
Music evolved, the problem was solved. Party people must get involved. So all you ladies in the place tonight, we got a rap we think will make you feel right. It ain't no problem, baby, as you know. The curtain's open, so we're gonna start the show. So girls, don't you worry. Don't you think about the things you might have left behind.
condition, and you feel it. So you want pro or your time, your prime, before you reach your prime. Yo, begging in the street for a nickel at a time. Wait on the corner on the welfare line. Got to be there at 8:45.
Rounds down back, we express our feelings and we never hold back.
Hey girls, don't deny it, don't knock it till you try it. You hear this record I buy, you to buy it.
Don't wait, don't hesitate, cause if you do it might be too late. Keep it in mind and don't waste no time. U.T.F.O is full of beats and rhymes.
This jam is working, we got the beats and rhymes.
Full force, get fresh.
Don't stop the beats, don't stop the rhymes, don't stop the music. Music's one of a kind. We got fresh beats and rhymes. Give us a chance to blow your mind.
Yo, Doc, you think I should go now?
No. Can't go. Let's go.
His always out of music, his on his eyes is head. His eyes fit and his always head. Giz and dizzy with Zeus, Sizzy, his like the is ice, Giz and his soul and the MD. Miss Amy in his eye, Giz him is interest eye, Giz him in his eye, isn't used to his art, Giz him is interest eye, is the beat too rough, can the beat get by?
Are the rhymes on time, can they be defied?
I think so, I think they're fly.
Why?
Simplify!
My zodiac is blind, see, and that's my word. Born on March 2nd, not the 3rd. And this little piece of rap must be heard that I'm rich in rhyme, rich indeed. If you cut me with the knife money, I will bleed. But I'm not a millionaire and I ain't cheap. I always give my love away, baby. I don't keep my feelings inside, cause if I do, I would burst. And if I had a problem, baby, you'd be the first to know how I feel, cause my feeling is real. And I know that you know that I know the deal, that I'm a law-abiding citizen, I don't break the law, and I will leave you get loose when I'm out on the floor. You're well aware, debonair, cause I intend to let you know that my rap is at its end.
I'm not a senior or a minor. I wasn't born in China, Spain, France, or even South Carolina. I was born in England, not the USA. Some people call them British, but that's okay. I'm not Jewish, Jamaican, but I'll keep making fresh new rhymes that'll keep you breaking. I got a lot of pages, of rhymes with different ages. Somehow I knew that I'd be standing on these stages. Performing and rhyming is better than climbing. It's simple like Simon, it just takes some timing. The fact that I'm a rapper doesn't separate me from the business and the doctors with a college degree. Motivation's the key, and if you don't possess that, you better hang it up and give it up. I'm telling you flat that you never make a living and it's teaching you off. That's the way that I think, and that's the way that I talk.
Fly girls feel the groove. Homeboys bust a move. Our beats and rhymes you can't resist. Bust this.
Our raps to share the light. Some say it's dynamite. I think that they're alright. Who am I to say they're wrong? We dress impressively. We do it knowingly. And if you wanna be with me, then come along.
I'm a city slicker, baby, not a country boy. And I like to drink milk with my chips ahoy. I never lived on the farm, never milked a cow, and I never felt better than I do right now. I don't believe in telling lies, and this ain't no fear. I'm the one and only rapper called the Kango Kid. From my rhymes to a rhythm, my rhythms to a beat. I know it's unique because you're moving your feet. And on your ladies on the floor, short or tall, ugly or pretty, long-haired or bald. I got a message to tell you all. I want y'all to dance to London Bridge Ball. And just so your man can have a ball, Ladies, show us your underbras, and then hurry, hurry, come and see the show of the educated rappers, Dr. Isaac can't go. If you thought that was fresh, what's this?
You've been listening to the Old School Rewind with Randy Bubba Black. Share and subscribe now at oldschoolrewind.com.